Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at the NBA on Thursday. Got 5 games to choose from here. Going to be looking at the plays that we made on Wednesday as well. Lost a few units there. Still up 49 on the season. So we'll go over how everything went on Wednesday and what we learned, most importantly. And then we'll jump into these plays that I have here for Thursday, including a few of the leans and looks that I'll have probably put down on the card a little bit later once we get a bit more news. So if that all sounds good, give this video a like, subscribe to that page. Let's get right into it. Brutal day here on Wednesday. 4-6, lost 3.1 units, so we're down to 49. I say down. We're up 49 units on the season. Feeling pretty good about it. But let's look at the losses here. Cat and Joker, that was dead at the start, right? Both those dudes got fouls in the first quarters, and that was it. Cat had 3 at the half. Joker had 2 at the half. Joker stopped trying on offense. Denver looked like a shell of itself, and the Knicks won by 10. So we walk away from that game pretty disappointed, but we had some great closing line value on both those bets. Jokic ended at 28.5 before the game started, and Cat ended at 13.5 rebounds. So we got really good numbers before the public got to it. Just didn't work out. Joval, I mean, I keep going back to double doubles. To be honest, if you like the rebounds for a bet, just bet the rebounds. I like 10 and I liked 11 rebounds for Joval. We could have gotten both of those. Sometimes you got to drink the juice. You got to take worse odds to make sure you win the bet. And that's what I'm going to keep coming back to. People don't like taking minus 140, minus 130. And I understand that because if you're a $100 bettor, making $70 back on your bet doesn't seem like it's worth it. But if you're a $1,000 bettor and you're betting at minus 130, it's worth it. So until we build up to that place, I get it. But the point is like, it's not a bad idea to take bad odds if you have value on that bet. And I had value on Joval over 9.5 boards, even at minus 135. So just take the bet that you like and don't worry about adding the points because that's what did us in. He had 6 points and 11 rebounds. I liked the rebounds, but I didn't like the juice. So I went for the double-double. Stay away from that. That's noob stuff, and I'm done with that kind of thing. Jaylen Brown, another bad beat, got 2 personal fouls in the first quarter, was en route to just getting probably like 8 or 9 points in that quarter, then fell through because he had to come out after 6 minutes. I expected him to play 10 minutes in that quarter. 4 minutes to get 2 more points, but he couldn't stay on the floor. So we lose that bet because of fouls. Collier Ware, I'm officially done. Let me make this proclamation to you guys. No more Miami Heat bets. It's not happening. Unless you get me Tyler Hero against a cupcake opposition with almost no one else on the floor with him, then maybe. But I'm done with Collier Ware. He's going to have another big game next game. I'm not going to bet on him, and I'm going to stay away in the game after that because fuck the Heat and Eric Spoelstra and his rotations. I can't keep track of it, so why am I betting on Heat players? Bruce Brown got hooked. He got 4 boards in this one. Probably should have added the points. Probably wouldn't have mattered, to be honest. This was a blowout against Washington. Can't trust that. So when anybody's playing Washington, man, we got to be careful because you don't know who's going to get minutes after they're down by 30 in the third quarter. Just an embarrassment of a basketball team. But we're still up to 49 units. Like I said, if you do want to jump into the VIP, still got plenty of room for you guys. And this is what you're getting. Expert picks and analysis, like I said, up 49 units. You get the write-ups that come along with it. You also get access to the guest cappers in there who are dropping some really good plays as we find stuff together. And then one-on-one sports betting consultations, another big aspect of this that I try to preach to everyone. I've got one-on-ones today and tomorrow with a few more folks to help them trim some of those bad habits in sports betting and start to make money over time, right? And not just find yourself re-upping in your account, reaching around for the wallet to put more money down. Not gonna have to do any of that once you start getting a little bit better habits that you practice. So I'm helping you guys with those. If you do want to get some of that, jump into the VIP. But for now, let's go ahead and get what we've got. I do want to remind you, we've got the live show 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Bring your bets. Give me some bets in the comments too, if you guys would. Let me know who you're betting on this game in the comments. If I do see some looks that I like, I'll bring those to the live show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Give you a shout out and look at the bets that you guys are putting down in the comments on this video. So I'll see you guys at the show. But for now, let's go ahead and get right into what we've got for Thursday on the card already. As we get into what we've got on the card here for Thursday, a quick reminder, we're always using propsmadness.com, the absolute best tool for finding the best value on all of these sports bets, especially in the NBA as we're making them this season. If you do want to jump in, use code LYB when you sign up. You can either get a free trial for 7 days. You can also get 25% off when you use that code right there. So definitely use that if you're jumping in. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions about how I'm using this platform to find the best bets that we can. 5 games on the slate, like we said, and I've got 1 bet down on the card. It is from the last game of the night. The first bet I've got down is a look at Franz Wagner, and you can get him on the points or the points and rebounds. I like both. If you take the 4.5 boards by themselves, I like that as well, but we're definitely getting money down on Franz in this game. Franz is a hooper. So that's number one. We know the effort that we're going to get from Franz. They basically had to restrain him from getting back onto the court when he was injured because he wanted to play so bad. So that's the kind of guy that I want to bet on. Let's start there. When we talk about the points and rebounds, this is the official bet for me. Over 28.5 points and rebounds. That's what I'm looking at for Franz and what I've got down on the card. Minus 120 on DraftKings. That is going to be basically the best number that you're going to find. And there's already 29.5s popping up. So this might be 29.5 by the time this game tips off. I'm happy to take the 28.5. What I'm looking at here is, let's just start with this season. He's played a few games with Banchero here, 8 games with Paolo. And I want to make sure we take into consideration the games with Paolo, because when Paolo was out, Franz went clean the hell off, right? If we actually look at this season without Paolo, you can see he's up at about 32 PR per game, better than the 30 that he's at on the season, because he's at about 28 on the season with Paolo. But there's a couple things that kind of mislead us there. So let's put Paolo back out. We say with Paolo, he's played the 8 games, over in 4 of them, just 26 PR per game, right? But he didn't play minutes in these games. And that's why you have to dive deeper into everything before you just start making a bet going, well, I'm not going to bet over on Franz because he's done this only 4 out of 8 times when he's played with Paolo. Yeah, but how many minutes was he playing when he played with Paolo? So in the first one here that he went under 27 PR against Miami in the first game of the season, 23 minutes because they won by 19 points. The next game, 39 minutes, so he goes over. 34 minutes, so he goes over. 11 minutes against the Pacers, probably dealing with injury there, so he goes under. Same with the Bulls, only 23 minutes. So you got to look at the minutes. You can't just look at the game log from afar and say, oh, he didn't do it, so he's not going to do it this game. Look at the minutes, and that's the point of these advanced filters. We can take the minutes and move them up to 30, because there ain't no way you're keeping Franz off the floor for more than 30 minutes at this point. And in those 4 games where he actually played 30 minutes, which is the normal amount of minutes that he normally gets, which is actually closer to 34, he went over in all 4. He averaged 34.5, and it doesn't matter that Paolo's out there for the points and rebounds for Franz, because Franz is at worst 1B, if not 1A. On this team in terms of scoring, especially right now. And that's why I don't like the assists quite as much for him. If you look at Paolo since Franz has come back in these last few games, over in 4 of these last 5 right here, actually missing Franz against Denver and then missing against Toronto. So these last 3 games that he's played with Franz, but all 3 he's gone over in the dimes, looking at 11, 10, and 7 potential assists during that time. Franz is not looking to pass. He's not looking to facilitate, and he really wasn't ever trying to do that before when he had Paolo on court with him, right? When Paolo went down, Franz got a bunch more assists. You can see with Paolo, he's at 3.4 dimes per game. Without Paolo, he's at 6.3 dimes per game, over in 18 of 20 games on the dimes when he played without Paolo Banchero. But Paolo is the more of the point guard at this point, and he'll probably continue to be the point forward for this team. And I do like assists for Paolo Banchero as opposed to the points and rebounds for Franz. So the official bet from this one is going to be Franz over on the points and the rebounds, 28.5. And then I am considering a lean into the Paolo Banchero dimes. You can also get that at 4.5. Best number now is going to be about minus 130 on most of these books. So you got to drink some juice. But I think over 4.5 assists, even at like minus 135, is going to be a good bet for Paolo. Just want to see a few more things about who's playing in this game. And then we'll come back to that on the live show today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you've been watching this show at all, especially on the episodes where there were Utah Jazz games to talk about, you know that this is the man, the myth, the legend, Isaiah Collier, the Rook, and his dimes, and anything you really want to take. Now, he's going up against Minnesota. So the play that I like for him in this one most is rebounds and assists. I like adding the rebounds to the dimes. The assists are the play for this guy, right? If we look at him in these last roughly, how many games is this? Like 15-ish games right here. 12 games, let's say. He's been playing minutes, at least 25 to 30, 35 sometimes, right? At least 25. I think he's gotten below 25 once. That was 23 minutes against the Thunder, which was not much of a game anyway, on January 22nd. So pretty not worried about it. Over an 11 of 12. This is the rebounds and the assists. And he's looking at about 12.5 per game over the last 12. If you just look at him on the season, let me go up in the games. Let's take the minutes filter and see how he's played in games where he's played at least 25 minutes. 14 games, over in all 14, averaging 13 rebounds and assists during that time frame. Now, if you want to take the dimes, he's actually averaging 8.2 assists per game in that time frame. So you do get a little bit of an edge on plus money for the assists. But I like adding the rebounds in this one if we don't have Walker Kessler and John Collins. I should make that very clear. John Collins and Walker Kessler are both questionable to play right now, and they would both eat they would both dip into his rebounds that he could get because they're very good rebounding big men, obviously. So the boards are a little bit less consistent, but there have been a few games where he's sort of compensated for a lack of assists with a few more rebounds. And I do think we're good enough to add both of them together for 9.5 rebounds and assists. Minus 130 is still a bet that I'm willing to make here for Isaiah Collier. And I am willing to ladder this. If you can get an alt line on the rebounds and assists to over 10.5 for better money and better odds, I would be taking that for Collier as well. Matchup be damned. Like this, you're not going to find anything against Minnesota that's going to tell you that they're soft in this area or that. They are a very, very good defense on the season, the 6th best defensive rating, 5th best limiting assists, 10th best limiting rebounds. That's the Minnesota matchup. Not going to be a great one, but I will say he's going to be on the floor with Colin Sexton or Keontae George, and those guys are going to be getting almost definitely the better defender, who's either going to be some form of Jaden McDaniels or Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They're going to be on those other guys. Mike Conley is going to be starting. Mike Conley's probably going to be on Isaiah Collier. That's a wonderful matchup for rebounds, assists, and to be honest, even the points at 7.5. If you feel more comfortable with like points and assists, or you just want to take 7.5 points, add it to the dimes, both of those are good. My preferred play here is going to be the rebounds and assists for Collier, but I can understand adding the points to it if you feel more comfortable with that. Jumping over to this budding rivalry, Rockets and Grizz. Really good one in this one because we've got everybody healthy once again. And my preferred look right now, don't have it down yet on the card, but my preferred look is going to be Desmond Bane on the points. And I do think you could make a little negative correlated parlay if you went under on the 5.5 assists and over on the 17.5 points. So let's look at what I'm looking at here. If we talk about with Ja Morant, right? And I expect Ja to play in this one. This season with Ja, let's give him at least 30 minutes because there was a part of the beginning of the season for Desmond Bane where he was not playing 30 minutes. He was still coming back from injury, and so he was playing anywhere from 20 to 25. But he's played 12 games with Ja Morant where he's seen at least 30 minutes. In those 12, he's at 19.6 points per game, over in 9 of 12. Pretty nice hit rate, right? Better than his average on the season at 17.7 because he's getting the minutes. If we do this without Ja, and we take Ja off the floor, still giving him 30 plus minutes, the points still look really good, obviously a little bit better, but the assists are insane. He's at 8.1 dimes in 30 plus minutes without Ja Morant. Versus if we put Ja on the floor with him, even in 30 plus minutes, the dime's a lot less. So he goes from 8.5 to 5. Right. So I think 5.5 is too much against a Houston Rockets team that is second in the league in limiting assists to its opponents. That's the whole point of this team, is that they are not going to sag off of shooters. They're going to overpressure the ball handler. And that's going to be the guy who's in a better position to score, to be honest. Now, Ja is that guy when he's on the floor with Desmond Bane, but Desmond Bane is also that guy off when Ja's off court, and he's playing a good amount of minutes per game where he's the lead ball handler and Ja Morant is on the bench because Ja's not really getting above 30 minutes much these days. And I don't know how you can really bank on him doing that next game. I mean, he looked like crap against the Knicks. Maybe he comes out looking like he got shot out of a cannon in this one, but I'm still expecting them to rely on Desmond Bane a ton, which he would have been gotten the 34, 35-ish minutes against the Knicks if they didn't lose by 37 points. So he only took 14 shots in that game, had a poor shooting performance, and still came within 2 points of getting this in a blowout loss. So I'm not worried about these last two games where he went under 17.5. One was a 22-point blowout win. The other was a 37-point blowout loss. And he couldn't get the extra 4 or 5 minutes that he would need to get about 3 to 4 more shots. And in 3 to 4 more shots, I feel very good that Desmond Bane can get 18 points. So I'm staying away from the assists. In fact, I'm considering a little negative correlated parlay and going over on points and under on assists for Desmond Bane. But at the very least, you can bank on the points going over. Going to finalize this bet with you guys on the live show today at 5:30 as always. Hope to see you guys on the live, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, jump in the comments of this episode. Let me know who you want to look at in the live show, and I'll go ahead and keep that track of that with you guys. Give you a quick shout out if I do like one of the bets that you put in the comments, and we can take a look at it on the live show. Hopefully spread the wealth for everybody else who's watching the show as well and give out those winners. So bring your bets, jump in there, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and until I see you then, happy betting.